Hello, today is the anniversary of the birth in 1772 of Samuel Taylor Coleridge, the author of Kubla Khan and The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, two great British poems. But they may not have ever happened because a letter has emerged that he wrote when he was 22 to a Cambridge friend of his, saying that he'd had enough of writing and of almost of life in general, it seemed, and he was going to give up and retire into obscurity. And it reads as though he almost intends to become a recluse. But fortunately, his friend rallied round, and other friends realised what was going on and took him off to Bristol, where he was surrounded by people who supported him, including William Wordsworth, and then a collaboration with Wordsworth revived his interest in writing poetry, and they became between them the fathers, so to speak, of the Romantic movement in Britain. But it was this sense of despair that seemed to come over him that could so easily have scuppered all that. And I think there are times when we get very low, very fed up, nothing seems to be going right, and we feel we want to give up. In his case, it was among other things, the fact that a childhood sweetheart of his, Mary Evans, whom he'd always loved, got engaged to be married to someone else, and this was kind of the final straw. But he says, interestingly, that what he feels he's been doing is focusing too much on just one way of finding happiness, i.e. through Mary Evans. And when that went, everything else seemed to go with it. And I think that is a danger sometimes that we can fall into, of actually thinking that our future happiness depends on one or other of a number of things, but we focus our hopes on what we think will make us happy. And perhaps in so doing, we can make ourselves a bit depressed when it doesn't seem to be emerging. But also we may miss other opportunities, other things that might have made us happy had we gone down a different path. And so I think to narrow our horizons too much, to limit our hopes for our futures to something fairly restricted, can undermine our happiness. We need to be open-minded, open-hearted and open-eyed to seeing all the possibilities for happiness that might lie before us, not to pursue any one of them with too much seriousness. That way, I think, we open ourselves up to greater possibilities in our lives, but also are much less likely to get depressed when one of the paths to happiness that we've imagined goes wrong.